Coronavirus. Is India the next global hotspot? The coronavirus took hold slowly in India, but 6 months after its first confirmed infection it has overtaken Russia to record the world's third largest caseload. With the world's second largest population, much of which lives packed into cities, the country was perhaps always destined to become a global hotspot. But the data behind its case numbers is questionable, because India is not testing enough, and an unusually low death rate has baffled scientists. Here's 5 things we know about the spread of coronavirus in India. 1. India's cases are rising fast. India has seen a series of record spikes recently, adding tens of thousands of cases daily. It recorded most of its confirmed cases in June, within weeks of reopening after a rigid lockdown. India's caseload is nearly invisible on this scale because its testing rate is so low. But it's not just about how much you test, it's also about who you test. India's emphasis on test and trace early on limited the pool of people it was testing to high-risk cases and their contacts, and kept it from expanding to the wider population. Test and trace is insufficient once the infection starts to spread rapidly, said Himanshu Tyagi and Aditya Gopalan, mathematicians who have studied COVID-19 testing strategies. It helps with containment, but it does not discover new cases that have emerged undetected in the community, Mr. Tyagi and Mr. Gopalan said. India has to test a broad swathe of people for that to happen. But how do we know who India is testing? Comparing testing numbers across countries is tricky because some count how many people they test, while others count how many tests they do. India does the latter, and this number is slightly exaggerated because most people get tested more than once. So instead, scientists prefer to calculate how many tests it takes to find a single confirmed case. The more tests it takes, the wider you are casting your net. Here, India fares poorly compared to countries that have managed to control the spread of the virus. And the more widely you test, the lower your positive rate. That's why New Zealand and Taiwan have rates well below 1%. India's positive rate is now up from 3.8% in April to 6.4% in July. If it keeps rising, it's because testing is still limited to a narrow pool of high-risk people and their contacts. 3. India's recovery numbers are promising. The data suggests that those in India who have been diagnosed with the virus are recovering from it faster than they are dying from it. This is crucial, Dr. Jameel said, because it determines the strain on the health system. Currently, deaths are rising more slowly than confirmed cases or recoveries, but if that rate quickens, it would increase the pressure on hospitals, possibly driving up deaths.